Well, hi guys. Today we're going to talk about Take-Two Interactive. Their slogan is "The future is in your hand." So, a little bit about the company profile. Take-Two Interactive Software is a leading developer, publisher, and marketer of interactive entertainment for consumers around the globe. We develop the publish product principally through Rockstar Games, 2K, Private Division, and T2 mobile games. Our product are designed for console system and personal computer, including smartphones and tablets, and are delivered through physical retails, digital downloads, online platform, and cloud streaming services. Whew, that is actually, I copied it from their profile, but this is kind of what I thought Take-Two was. I don't know, like GTA. They just make GTA. I recently finished GTA 5, it's some type of like GTA for me. I thought was an RPG style game making company. I don't know what else they have, but all I know is GTA 5, some Ouya stuff, la 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 la. So let's get started with the founder. His name is Ryan Brandt. He is an econ major at University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School of Business. He's actually the son of Peter Brandt, who is an American industrialist, magazine publisher, film producer, and art collector. So one of his famous magazine that he has created was called The Interview. I've never heard about it, but apparently it was very famous. So he actually started working for his father at the company with in terms of the business aspect, which makes sense because he graduated econ major, so he knows how businesses work. So he served as the COO, and later he left the company to build his own business. And he stated that he wanted to get into a business where I could raise capital as a younger guy. So in technology, people expect you to be a younger person. Kind of sad, but true, I guess. You need creativity. And he got an initial fund of $1.5 million from family and private investors. So the first game he created was in 1993 called Star Crusader. I don't know if you guys heard about this game, but it's a space combat simulation game. It's single player, and the critics review, it kind of lacks the originality, but they were actually, praising the gameplay, which is similar to Wing Commander 3, Heart of the Tiger. And it's considerably has less fluff, which means that basically they said if people who don't have PCs powerful enough to run the Wing Commander, or, have no interest in cinematic games, play this game. Because it wasn't like high end game, it was just kind of a simple, but it has a similar story to it. So, and after that, their next game was this Hell, a cyberpunk thriller. And actually this game was the first major success game that they have created. And what made them so successful was that it was a full motion video with well-known live actors performing the part. They actually got the idea from this game, Daedalus Encounter, starring Tia Carrier. So for the game Cyberpunk, they hired Dennis Hopper. He was in Super Mario Bros., Speed, Water World, Colors, Paris Trout, and many more. So very famous actor. And so what did this result in? They sold 30,000 copies worldwide in 6 months, which made a healthy profit, obviously, because you sold that much. The reviews of this game was that they were really praising the voice acting and the high quality of the game. They also said that the music was very impressive, matched the thing. The image color uses was fascinating to watch as is to play, so a big success. So with that money that they made in 1994, they created a game called Ripper, which is a interactive movie point and cyber adventure game. I think it was kind of supposed to be like a gory, scary game. They continued with having actors involved, and that this time they spent $625,000 in hiring Christopher Walken, Karen Allen, and Bogus Meredith, which released in 1996. So this resulted in selling 150,000 units, which earned 28.7% of company revenue. Their review, the favorite line was, 1 minute the game believes it's a graphic adventure, the next it's a movie, and then the next it's a puzzle game. So any one of the aspects would be perfect. It would be a gamer's delight. So basically saying it's like a movie and a game, and like, you know, it has really good graphics, so play this game if you're interested in those. I think Take-Two Interactive was really good to make people, like gamers, be in that game. Like, kind of compare it with other games that, you know, we played, like Half-Life. You know, they do lack the design and graphics, right? And like the sound and the voice, it's kind of like so now moving on a year later, they did a licensing arrangement with Sony. Sony wanted them to develop games for their PC console, and they also made a partnership with Acclaim Distribution, which is a power distribution that can boost 10,000 store network. And so at this rate, they were making 10 millions in annual revenue, but the founder wasn't satisfied. Makes sense. So what happened was that in 1997, they decided to go public with the ticker symbol of TTWO on NASDAQ Stock Exchange. They were able to get $6.5 million with $4 million on venture fund promissory notes. Very good for a game company. And so with the IPO money that they've earned, they acquired GameTech European operation. Sounds familiar, right? Rockstar Toronto and Alliance Creative Group. So who are they? I actually didn't know who they were, but GameTech is an American video game publisher. They're well known for Jeopardy and Game of Fortune, which was a perfect timing for GameTech because they were going bankrupt. Rockstar Toronto, which was Reality Technologies Studio, is a Canadian video game developing company, which was actually part of GameTech in 1995, but came along with it when it was sold to Take-Two Interactive. And finally, the Alliance is a video game distribution company. Actually, this is more like a retail company. They help with packaging and everything. They also have like an inventory management division. So it all came to a part because, guys, it's 1997. They needed to make CDs or like floppy disks. And packing was involved at that time, right? It's not digitalized anymore at this time. So. And then next in 1998, they made more agreements and partnership. First was Nintendo and Sega. As you know, the Japanese game company, they decided a 3-year deal to develop games for console along with Sega. But their console was called Dreamcast system, which I've never heard about, but you know, it's out there. They also did a partnership with BMG Entertainment. Now this is a very important partnership, guys, okay? Because BMG was actually originally from Bertelsmann AG. It made $14.2 million in stock. So what this means of having them, you know, be part of Take-Two was that they get, you know, easy marketing, sales, and distribution operations in France and Germany because it was like a company in Europe. They also had product publishing and distribution business in UK. And also, they were able to get games created by BMG. And so, one of the well-known games that BMG had was GTA. So, the first GTA was created in 1997, and it was actually called Race and Chase. Kind of makes fun. And the original concept of GTA was to produce a fun, addictive, and fast multiple player car racing and crashing game which uses a novel graphic method, which kind of influences the game Pac-Man. As you guys know, it's like you have that little thing that goes and then the ghost is following you. The performance was really great in like Europe and everything, but it wasn't really a big success in US because at the time the senator was really against this game, probably because it was a bit brutal. So Take-Two actually took the advantage of acquiring the GTA game and created also a new label of Rockstar Games. So how successful was this, guys? Well, you guys should know, right? You GTA lovers? Really good. In Europe, it became the bestseller. In UK, got like a gold prize for revenue, about above 17 million at a festival. 1.5 million copies were sold. You know, we had like a 68.33% ranking. And compared to like a first game that they created with this type of concept, it was very successful. So now what? Probably invested more into developing of sequels and spin-outs. Obviously, GTA 2 came at 1999. GTA 3 came at 2001. Other like sequels came out related to GTA, kept coming out. We talk about GTA 4, GTA 5, which will come in later. Now, after their success with GTA 2005, moving on, they got a bunch of acquisitions, spent $80 million buying game developer companies. So starting with Sega, the Japanese multinational video game developer and publisher, is known for Sonic and Yakuza, which means that Take-Two is actually the owner of that. They were also able to purchase Visual Concept and Kush Games, part of Sega, for $32 million, and a lot of the sports simulation game that's branded through ESPN. And why this was important, because their rival company, probably the EA, was kind of the monopoly for NFL games, right? They also had a 15-year exclusivity deal with ESPN. They also, Take-Two wanted to get into more of the sports games, so they got the exclusive rights with Major League Baseball for video games. And that being a result made them able to create the 2K publishing label. And finally, they also got partnership with Firaxis Games, which is an American video game developer known for Civilization and XCOM series. So as you guys know, Civilization, one of the most long games that people like, which I personally didn't know that they were part of Take-Two. But because like the image doesn't really fit for me, like guys, GTA and Civilization, they're like the opposite games. But it was acquired in November 2005 for US dollars $27 million. And actually, because 2K was a big help of releasing Civilization 4, they just decided to take over the company. And they also got a bunch more Irrational Games, which is an American video game developer for BioShock, which everyone probably had played before. Is one of their big acquisition. And comes the funny story related to legal issues. Now in 2005, end of that too, 2007, they had a lot of issues going on. So starting with a fraud, back in 2001, SEC had to examine Take-Two's business record because it seems that they realized in 2005 that Take-Two's earnings didn't match figures of game sales reported by NPD Group. That being said, they noticed that the company sold products as parking transaction to artificially increase their revenues for investors. So what is a parking transaction? I looked it up. Their definition was that the purchaser buys a product of the seller, and then the seller will repurchase the product at a specific time with a specific amount. So they were doing some like back fishy things just to look like they've made a lot of revenues on their paperwork. So they were just saying it's basically a way to park their product in the balance sheet of the buyer, and that is just like sketchy, right? So it resulted in Take-Two fining $7.5 million, and Brandt and the executives had to pay a total of $6.4 million. So then a year later, Brandt decided to resign from the company as the CEO position. But then that wasn't just it. 2007, they had another issue of Brandt receiving 10 backdated options granted for 2.1 million shares between 1997 to 2003. And a backdated option is apparently where the firm issues stock options to employees, but instead of using the actual issue date, they use it earlier so that they can fix to a lower exercise price. Another sketchy deal that Brandt wanted to do, I don't know why he did it. He could have just made more better GTA games like overall and continued with it. But that's what he did. And that resulted being, so he was supposed to be receiving a 4 years in prison because, it's like big money issues going on. But he agreed to cooperate with SEC. He just was fined $7.3 million. But that wasn't just it. He actually had to be stopped from serving as an officer or director for 5 years. So, till 2012, he couldn't be serving as an officer position or a director position. And finally, I think this is what you guys been all waiting for, was that the hot coffee mod. And I googled this, guys. Surprisingly, Jinri googled something. So what is a hot coffee? You download this separate program and you connect it with your GTA games, which then will allow you to unlock this sex scene. And the first one was from GTA San Andreas. So there's this hidden graphical sex scene, and the story that goes behind it was that it was like a mission so that CJ would impress the girlfriend, and if he did impress her, the mission would end where the girlfriend was asking CJ if he wanted to come into her house for a cup of coffee, meaning sex. So it's kind of like the Korean version. Do you want to go get some ramen? But back then it was like a cup of coffee. Yeah, we're not going to have any clips. And at this time, this is 2005, 2007. It was just beyond the content rating. They were just going crazy over it. FTC was involved about this. And the result came out being Walmart had to remove, Walmart and other, companies, retail stores, remove GTA from the shelves, being this is just absurd. And they had to complete with a $20.1 million settlement and class action lawsuit filed against it in 2005. Parents, some board member, blah member, they were hating on Take-Two for this awful hot coffee scene. So that became a huge issue. But what I found through Googling is that they still continue this. So if you have these games, if you're over 19 and if you guys are mature, then check it out. But I am not going to share it. I'm sorry, guys. So with all these issues happening in 2 years, they had some fines, Brandt got fired, not really got fired, but he had to step down, a bunch of money being losses, where's the next GTA coming out? Nothing's happening, what's going on? So the investors were so mad. I don't know about you, but I would be mad. If I was the investor, I'd be so mad, guys. Be what the heck, guys? Right? So investors at this time, was SAC Capital Management, Two Door Investment Corporation, blah, a lot of, 4 or 5, a lot of investors actually held 46% of the company's stock. So they were okay, we need to take over and do buyouts. We're going to be taking over the company. So the first thing they did was they got a new chairman, Zelnick. He was previous president and CEO of BMG, We heard about that company. He was actually the COO of the 20th Century Fox, CEO of Crystal Dynamics, so has a lot of experience. Right before the investors was gonna take place, the CEO at the time wanted to actually find a buyer and be like, okay, I give up on Take-Two. Like, we can't do anymore. But I was actually unsuccessful. And so with the new chairman, they did a lot of restructuring. So they started out with finding a new CEO and started taking over the company, who was Ben Feder. They also decided to reduce their total employee headcount by 5 to 10%, out of like 2,000 people, which represented approximately 105 to 315 employees. They also closed the offices in Europe. So, yeah, that's a lot of things going on. But that wasn't it. Like, that wasn't just the bad news. Like, you think with all these readjusting and everything, it was gonna go well. Well, like, you know, EA comes. And EA's like, hey, just sell your company. Like, just, hey, you're having a hard time, guys. Just, you know, let me buy your company, man. Because at the time, EA was like so jealous of Blizzard, who got another company. Like, Blizzard acquired another company, so he wanted to be like the best game publisher at the time. And they knew that by acquiring Take-Two, which was for EA the perfect moment, because, you know, Take-Two had all these issues going on, but like, you know, Take-Two was like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. The chairman of the board actually rejected the offer, and they actually stated saying, hey, we didn't just slam the door. You know, we just said, look, the price is not right and the time is wrong. Because they knew that whatever is going to happen next, their stock price is going to raise. Like, they knew that they're going to make Take-Two better. And they also knew that GTA 4 was going to change their situation, right? And a little bit about GTA 4 coming up. When GTA 4 came out, their stock price rose to $26.63. But EA, like, before GTA and all those things happening, they were like, hey, no, okay. Thank you for the letter that you, like, declined, right? This is this exact words. You know, I appreciate its courtesy, tone, and value, but, like, I am disappointed. EA saying, I'm disappointed that you have rejected, you know, our $25 per share. You know, like, hey, come on. And, like, declined to engage in a friendly negotiation we proposed. And we continue to believe. And EA was kind of being like, oh my God, please, you know, that, like, annoying boyfriend that, like, you know, calls at, like, 2 a.m, being like, are you sleeping? Like, don't you want to think about it, EA? You know, like, let's think about our relationship again. Like, we can do it. But EA's dream of becoming the monopoly of sports game ended. They spent a year trying to get Take-Two to be part of them, but decided to back down on the offer. And then came, like, okay, fine. Hey, I don't give a crap. And then came the release for GTA 4. Not gonna lie, GTA 4 was, like, you know, very successful. That being said, they got an idea of being like, hey, maybe, like, GTA, like, you know, making GTA a perfect game is the way to bring back this company. So in 2013, guys, Take-Two starts buying shares. So they started repurchasing 7.5 million shares because they knew, I don't know how they know, but they apparently knew that their company will be profit over the next several years. They must have had so much faith in their, like, GTA 5 edition. They also bought 12 million shares owned by Carl, who is a businessman who have invested in many business and also been board of companies including Lionsgate Entertainment and Apple. That's Carl. He's Carl Icahn. He's apparently famous. But something funny about him was, like, he actually wanted to sell the companies to other buyers. He was like, I don't think this company has, you know, a future. Ha ha ha, right? Because he probably at the time was like, wait, they just declined EA's. Like, what are you doing, right? So that being said, the board member actually, you know, kicked him out and kicked 3 other board members who, you know, was part of Carl. and all of their shares were out. So what happened? Did ICANN thought of actually selling to a buyer a good choice, or did Take-Two, have faith? What's the game that Jinri recently played, guys, and was going crazy over it? GTA 5. It's like, it was a bit late, but it was released on September, so around this time. So it's been like 8 years game. People are still playing it. GTA is still the number 2 most played, most streamed game on Twitch, guys. Number 2, shockingly. And so they sold nearly 100 million units the next year. So in 1 year, they were selling 100 million units. One of the most successful video games out there. You have people being like, oh, and then, 32 million continuously. And the company actually made $6 billion off of GTA. And you know how much that is? It's 600% increase of stock value. Yeah, and GTA, co-founder brothers actually got to be, part of 1,000 richest people list with, that much money. Wow. So after that, 2016, they decided to move on to mobiles and invest in it. So Scopely was one of them. They invested in it in July, which is an LA-based mobile game developer, and Network, one of their famous game would be The Walking Dead. They also got Social Point, which is a social and mobile game developer in Barcelona. Their price was at $250 million to enter, with additional earnout of $25.9 million. And then 2018 was kind of like I want to say a big step up into, where they had to deal with a lot of issues, starting with relocating their headquarters to 1133 Avenue in New York, and this is their office. Holy cow. With a 15-year lease, which is crazy. Who wouldn't want to work here, guys, right? And one also interesting thing that happened in 2018, I don't know if you guys remembered, was the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting. So Take-Two actually had to attend the White House to discuss video game violence. And it was obviously held by President Donald Trump at the time. And the attendees were people that was involved in video game industry and other, game or education related, because they thought that violent video game exposure and would correlate to aggression and craziness that kids get when they play video games. They were like, they're playing GTA, and obviously GTA, even 4 or 5, one of the most violent games. You're shooting every other time, or killing someone, punching someone. And this had a big deal with the Douglas High School shooting, which ended up killing 17 kids at a high school in Florida. And this kid was just go crazy. But I don't know if it really had to deal with, GTA, that he found this idea from GTA. But he actually wanted to be a hunter. And that he wanted to be joining the military too, because it had shooting. He also had YouTube going on, being I'm gonna be some type of shooting. But really sad news. But so they had to be attending that meeting of discussing the video game violence. And but good things happened too. They were able to join the S&P 500. Other major video game publishers that's in S&P would be EA and Blizzard. So they are now considered one of the top 3 video game publisher. And finally, they also started repurchasing stock again. You know what that means? If they're repurchasing stock, it means that a really good game is going to come out, right? So they purchased $308 million worth of stock, which is just 2.5%. And the reason is Red Dead Redemption 2, which also was a very successful game, but we'll skip on it. I haven't played it, so I don't know. One sad thing happened in 2019, the year later. Ryan passed away with suffering from cardiac arrest. So condolence to Ryan. Rockstar actually did doing rest in peace to Orion on their Twitter. Now, 2019 to 2022, obviously a lot of acquisition. They started with Playdot, which is another mobile game developer. I don't know if you guys been seeing the connection of what the next game might be, like mobile games, of $192 million in cash and stock. They also got a Dundee-based Riffian Games. They actually started with an undisclosure partnership in the beginning, but became official. So now they're part of it. And finally, my favorite, 2K acquired HB Studio. And you know what HB Studio owns? Tiger Woods. Just kidding. They actually own the PGA Tour 2K21 and Golf Club 2019 featuring PGA Tour. So any golf games. So you know that, Take-Two has like the sports game, not just EA, but some of the sports game like golf, like baseball we mentioned. And now they're looking into like mobile games. So they're really spreading out a lot. Now, Take-Two Interactive in 2021. Yeah, it's like a nice graph. You see that in like 2000. Let's start off with 2008. Biggest issue. Stock price didn't fall that much, but I'm guessing this like increase up here was from GTA 4. Or at least being like, hey, EA, screw you guys. We're going to get better. Like, we don't need you guys. And maybe not. It did drop down after that, but from 2013, it, slowly was increasing. Probably this line was GTA 5 around that area, like, hey, Take-Two's, doing something, it's acquiring something. Red Dead Redemption was around this time. And then finally, at the end of like 2020 and that area, COVID-19, the pandemic, definitely helped increase any gaming companies, especially this, along with GTAs. Like role plays, guys. Perfect things to do. Other interesting fact that happened in 2021 would be top 11 developer Nordeus for $378 million. They were actually a mobile soccer management game based in Serbia, but very apparently famous in Europe. So, you kind of see that connection of mobile games for Take-Two. Next comes I found this a cute game, which is called A Tiny Tina Wonderland, coming at 2022. You never know what games might succeed or what might fail, but this is apparently an epic high fantasy take on the looter shooter genre, where players can create and customize their own multi-class heroes. It was kind of interesting. Something that happened in 2021 that they're going to announce this. And then next was, they decided to acquire Dynamic XYZ. But this was interesting because this is actually a facial animation service, video-based. So it seems that they do any like facial analysis or some type of motion captures, and they wanted to maybe connect it with some type of game. Maybe it'll be included in any other like mobile games. I'm not sure. Maybe they're gonna start doing this and then looking into VR games, some type of like using facial motion, maybe camera. I'm not sure, but something like that. So to wrap things up, let's kind of end it with like the financial data. Jinri's not really good at it, but we're going to kind of see the rough sketch of it. The financial highlights is that GAAP net income increased of 72%. They delivered the record digitally delivered netbook, da-di-da-di-da. They also generated record net revenue and net booking for 62% of total net revenue and 63% of net booking. The most important thing is that the reports doing better than expected resulted in the fiscal first quarter 2022. Can't believe they're already looking into that. So you see that the net revenue was at 813 million. Seems that net income per share was increased to $1.30. Doing so well. Company's doing good. They're really looking out for the 2022. And yeah, that's all for Take Two Interactive, if you guys, ooh, that is a very bad picture at the end. If you guys are interested in investing, obviously, that's up to you guys. Jinri's not part of it, but it was a very interesting company to look into. I had fun investigating in Take-Two Interactive, and I hope you guys, next time you guys play GTA or any of the games that they are owning, I hope you guys remember the history behind Take-Two Interactive. Thank you guys. Oh, don't forget to follow and subscribe Take-Two Interactive. Oh, and Jinri TV. Jinri Co. So that's all for today.